Okay, it says this meeting is being live streamed.
Oh,
Okay.
and then let's look at the.
Let me quickly check the YouTube to see what is showing.
I see
Oh,
all of
it's,
us.
I think the
Yeah,
name
we're
is correct.
live.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay, so everyone, thank you guys so much for staying. It's like 10 minutes to 6 at this point, so 6 my time. So, yeah, let's start by introducing ourselves and then we can get right into the live stream. My name is Esther Uwanah Edet. I'm one of the principal editors for Fourth Wave. And yeah, I think Martin, Nima, and Sangeeta.
All right, Nima, you go first.
I'm Nima Joseph. I'm one of the contributing writers for the Fourth Wave, and I'm really excited for this live stream.
All right, Martine, you go on then.
Hi everyone, I'm Martine. I'm also a contributing writer for Fourth Wave. I'm originally from Italy, now based in Canada. I'm also very excited to be here.
All right, and my
Great.
name is Sangeeta. I'm the development editor of Fourth Wave, and like Martine and also Nima, actually, I don't live where I was born. I was born in the Middle East. I'm Indian, and I live in Italy.
Thank you. Okay, so the title of this live stream is When Does Protection Become Control? And the inspiration or the reason why I wanted this topic for today's live stream was a conversation I came across on social media. Basically talking about, this thing where maybe in an area, and this has happened in my own area multiple times. A woman gets assaulted at night, and then we have a curfew, like, oh, from like maybe it's old for a couple weeks, like women should not be out by maybe 10 p.m. anymore. And it's old for a couple weeks. And the person was basically saying that, okay, how about instead of, and I think this has been said in different, like, but then it just struck me when this person said it. Like, how about instead of telling women to stay inside, you ask men instead, you give men the coffee because they're the ones who are the perpetrators. Like, would it not be common sense? But then it's also like, okay, but like because of the action of one person, like you want to punish everyone, like everyone should go in because, but then with women, it's like normal. Like one woman gets assaulted, and instead of men being asked to maybe control themselves, like be in and allow women basically live their lives. Women are the ones who are asked to stay inside and be given a curfew. So I think the first question will be, what rule or what form or what law for protection, as maybe in your own region, that's been given to women that you see as a form of protection instead of like you see as a form of control. I keep mixing the words instead of protection.
Oh, am I going first or my team?
Yeah, I think let's do Nima, Martine, and then me. We'll
Okay.
go in this kind of.
I think one of the big things that was changed in my era was like Roe v. Wade being overturned and how like all of the different states now have control over women's bodies essentially. Like me, for example, I live in Massachusetts, so I have access to contraceptives. And if I like if my contraceptives didn't work and I wanted to get an abortion, I would be able to. Whereas there are different states where even if you need to get an abortion for like your health reasons or like you have an ectopic pregnancy, they literally will not allow doctors to give you that abortion. So yeah, that's a big thing that was changed to take more of our control away.
What about you,
Okay.
Martine? What is it like in Canada versus Italy?
I think it's obviously not to the point of establishing curfews, but the underlying culture is still the same, meaning the idea that it is not up to the men to hold themselves accountable for violence against women. It's up to women to do whatever they can to prevent men from assaulting them, which is absurd. And it reminds me of this, decades old idea of, oh, you shouldn't be wearing that, or, you shouldn't be wearing a skirt that short because that's provocative. And if, God forbid, you get assaulted, then it's kind of your fault, or some people will even say it's entirely your fault. Meaning, I think it's still part of that mindset of it's not about holding men accountable or holding predators accountable. It's about, imposing even more oppressions on women and making them feel like this is their responsibility and occasionally their fault for what is happening to them, which is horrible, of course.
I feel like you both brought up some really interesting points there because, um, see now here in Italy, what I observed was also that, for example, for Meloni's government, for a lot of it, we have had certain new establishments. For example, now people who are trying to stop women from getting abortions, people who are anti-choice and like pro-birth, they call themselves, they're now allowed to go into abortion clinics and protest, do manifestations, or that's at least that's kind of how we refer to them. And you can technically go in and change someone's mind. Like it's not fully illegal to get an abortion like it is in the US, but this is kind of soft launching the same thing. You're still trying to police a woman, and all you're saying is, oh, I mean, everybody has the right to have an opinion, including these anti-abortion people who want to go into an abortion clinic. So, but the interesting thing as well is this is the case here when it comes to things like abortion, like Nima brought up. I think in India, abortion's always been legal, but it's been legal so that people can commit female feticide. So even though they won't,
Oh, wow.
yeah, they won't really say, oh, we're not going to stop you. If anything, it's seen as something you have to do. If your family, because a lot of women live in something called a joint family, which means you have everybody living under one roof, your grandparents, the aunts and uncles, all your cousins, everybody lives in one place, like a massive house, essentially. And if those people don't want you to have a daughter, but you're pregnant with a daughter, they will force you to abort. So that was a thing for a long time. It was very, very recently that, you can do a sonography or a sonogram, whatever, to check the sex of the baby. That's not allowed anymore. And it's not been allowed for a while because of this, because of female feticide, but it's not stopping people from doing this. So when in the West, this is seen as a choice thing, like you're taking away women's autonomy, even in places where a woman could choose because it's legal, you don't really get choice. You're still being controlled. You're still being coerced to make a medical decision. Maybe you're not even happy with. Maybe you do want to have that child. You just can't because your family said no and they don't want a daughter. So I feel like, yes, curfews are a huge thing in India all the time. Even here, we do, like Martine said, there is a culture of telling women, well, if you don't dress like that, if you don't look away, if you don't go out at night, bad things won't happen. But that's not really true, is it? Right? So
Mhm.
anything that women do is never going to stop someone who's determined to hurt us to hurt us.
Like I always found the fact that India, abortion is legal in India. I've always found it very surprising because I know it's a very conservative society. Like
Yes.
in Nigeria, it has never been a conversation. Like abortion has always been illegal. Like it has never ever been, there's never been a conversation for it to be legal, basically. Like it's not something we've ever spoken about, ever. So I've always found it very surprising, but that's really eye-opening because I know female feticide is a big thing over there. Okay, so let's make it more personal. So what expectations or what kind of like roles did you have in your own home that was supposed to protect you, that was also a form of control, or you still have some kind of control? I would go first. So I grew up in a very religious household. My parents are Christians. So it's always like you have to dress modestly, you have to cover up so you don't attract the wrong kind of attention. And it's to them, it's a form of protection. And it's not like I even want to dress immodestly, but at the same time, it's kind of like put the burden on me to protect myself. Because it's like, okay, if I wear something and go out and I get harassed, then it's some of my fault because okay, maybe this dress is not right today or something. And the truth is, no matter how well you dress, especially in my society, you literally cannot avoid being harassed. Like you would be covered head to toe and you still have men trying to grab you on the road, especially in crowded places, which like I live in Lagos, like it's crowded in plenty places. So it kind of places the burden on you to protect yourself. So it's like if even if you are dressed properly, it's like okay, you have to start self-analyzing. Maybe you're not dressed as properly as you think you are. So what kind of roles did you have in your own home growing up that was supposed to be for your protection that you found controlling or you think did not really protect you?
Um, for me, like I did grow up in Haiti in a more conservative religious household, and I kind of grew up wearing more conservative clothes. And when I came here, I had way more freedom than I did in Haiti. So my dad let me shop and buy whatever I wanted to buy. Like if it was cute and I would like not showing too much skin, because I was a child, like he would let me buy it. But then at a certain point, I got too much freedom essentially. Like I was 14, 15, Ubering everywhere. And like we didn't have our locations shared for like the longest time. And now that I'm looking at it like retrospectively, I'm like, that was a little bit too much. Like, I get trusting your children, but also like the world is a very scary place.
For me personally, the thing about the clothing standard is the one thing that I think stuck with me the most because I saw it happen so often especially when I was in Italy growing up. Like I remember when I was in middle school, which is between the ages of 11 and 13. I remember a girl in my class was basically reprimanded by the teacher because she was wearing a crop top. And the teacher basically said that's not allowed in this school. Like you cannot. She didn't say specifically girls are not allowed to wear crop tops, but the message was basically like, you're a girl, you do not wear crop tops because that's improper. It's not respectable. It was basically like cover your skin, essentially, which is crazy when you think about it because this girl was like 10 or 11 and like it feels like the underlying assumption is don't be sexually provocative, but you are talking to a child. And the
A
idea
child.
that, yes, a child of like 10 or 11, so like the idea that even a child of 10 has to police their wardrobe because some adult creep might be sexually objectifying them is disgusting. And yet it was sort of normalized. It was like, oh, you're a girl, you do not wear stuff like that could elicit a certain response. And I've seen this happen over and over again. I remember after I moved to New York, I went back to Italy for one summer at one point, and I was wearing this skirt, which wasn't even like a mini skirt. It was just like a mid-length skirt, essentially, and boots up to my knee.
Ooh,
And my mother was shocked, and she basically told me, like, if you wear that, it basically means you want to get raped. Uh, those were her
that
words.
is
And I was like,
extreme.
Oh,
yeah. And I was like, this is just like, it's clothes. It's not an invitation for anything. It's just literally me choosing to wear the clothes that I want to wear, that are comfortable. And if anybody doesn't like it, that's kind of their problem. But yeah, it gave me the idea of we're still in that mentality where you're a woman, you're not allowed to wear certain things, and if you dare to, then that basically means that it's almost like it's your fault and it's your responsibility to not do that, to not do something that will provoke a man. Yeah.
I think provocation, yeah,
and
like that's
I'm
a
so
very
sorry to cut you off, Sangeeta,
okay.
because I wanted to add something to what you said before you continue. Because I also have like very similar experiences. I
Go
went through
on.
puberty very, very, very early. I was 8 years old with boobs, and I was the only person with breasts in my class. I was 8 years old. And I would go to school, and I can remember I grew breast over the holiday. So I went back to school, and like I was the only person with breast in my class. And everybody wanted to see. Like everybody was like staring. And one of the boys in my class touched my breast. And I told my mom, and the response was for me to start wearing bras. Like to like so it would not be in their face, I guess. And it was very like, okay, but like I was just existing. Like I did not ask for that. And then it became my like anytime I would dress up now, I would have to start wearing bras. Like I had a problem wearing bras when I was a child. I did not like it. I
Mm.
wanted to keep wearing my singlets. But then I would dress up in the morning and be like, oh, go and wear your bra. Do you want them to touch your breast? That kind of thing. So it puts the responsibility on me to like kind of like
Mhm.
control other people's behavior to not
Mm.
touch me,
Yeah.
which was as a child, that was really something for my development.
No, I
Mhm.
understand that honestly. It's especially when you kind of develop early, you suddenly become it becomes like almost exhibitionism. People assume that you want attention
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
your biology, this is just what happened. Um, for me, when I have to talk about this, the policing didn't even start outside my house. It was in my house. The first time I was ever told to cover up was by my mother. And I was very young, and it was in my own home because I have a male father. And so I learned very quickly to self-police. Now, look, I grew up in the Middle East, and I grew up in Dubai, where, yes, we have a lot of air conditioning, but I grew up in a place that was extremely conservative, Muslim. And I assumed if I have to cover up and ensure that nobody sees my bits in my own home, I have to definitely cover up everything when I'm out. So, for example, I have a tattoo like right there, and it's not even, it's a fucking cat. Sorry, I can't swear. Bleep that later. I'm so sorry. And it's just a goddamn cat. And I remember wearing long sleeves up to there. I have a tattoo there as well, sorry. But long sleeves up to there and covering all the way from here down to my ankles because I was scared that I would be too provocative showing any kind of skin living in the Middle East. If I can't even be trusted to show skin in my house, that means it's a big problem. Like if I have to cover up in front of my dad or my uncle or cousins, where am I really safe, right? And it was seen as a mark of
Yeah.
respect. So I was told that it's more respectful to be fully covered up in front of other men, because otherwise you are kind of forcing them to have thoughts, which again is such a roundabout way to just abuse children. It's just a roundabout way to say, oh, if something bad happens to you, you get touched, you have someone treat you a certain
Yeah,
way.
it's your fault.
Yeah, in your
Mhm.
home. This was honestly, this was pedagogy as well. It was in my own home, it was at school, it was everywhere. And it was always, oh, if you show skin, you can't really, you're crying wolf if you get assaulted, if you get molested, any of that. They don't believe that that could happen because maybe you enjoyed it. And so it's supposed to be you're protecting yourself, but you're not. Like currently, like the way I dress now is I wear whatever I want because I am basically free of this conditioning that if something bad happens to me, it's my fault. Because, for example, one of the times when I was molested was outside of a place of worship by a dude who just came out after prayer. So, like, with due respect, you people are not respectful. What's the point of me dressing any kind of way? I am fully covered all the time, and that's not stopping you. There are girls, women who wear a full cover up head to toe, like just showing their eyes in certain places, and they're still victims. So it's not the clothes, it's how you see us. And if someone's really, like I said, if someone's really determined to hurt you, they're gonna hurt you. Like they're gonna find a way. We have to then talk about how do we make hurting a child, make hurting a teenager, make hurting any girl, woman, any person just unfathomable as like, you know, I can't even think of an example of just sprouting wings or something. It has to be as unimaginable as that. Because how does it ever come to your head when you see a child, like you said, wearing a skirt and boots, or wearing whatever else, or just having breasts? How do you look at someone and think to yourself, target? That's a problem. And I think that's the reason why the thing that you said earlier, Uwanah, of giving men curfews. I wrote this story as well, and I kind of agree with it. I feel like it's not really punishment. If there's enough of you as like hurting women, there's so many statistics. It's just kind of good sense, isn't it? Why would we agree to keep the people
Yeah.
who are not causing hurt inside when the
Mhm.
people who cause hurt are outside?
Yeah.
The math isn't mathing. It doesn't make damn sense.
And also protection extends like beyond clothes.
Mm,
As we were talking, I was thinking of like some rules that I don't think maybe applies in other countries, I don't know. But one of the things that happened over here is it's very hard to rent an apartment as a single lady. And I
yeah.
don't know if that's for your protection or if it's just plain control. Because Dami, if Dami was there, she could share her experience with finding an apartment. Like she was rejected so many times because she's a single woman. Because they like if you're a single woman, apparently you should not be living alone. You should be with your parents where they can protect you. So they make it very difficult for you to find houses. Like a lot of landlords are
Mhm.
not willing to rent out houses to single women. Just stay in your father's house. And another thing is over here, I don't know, I think it still happens, but not as commonly. As a single woman, there are certain establishments, there are certain hotels, there are certain restaurants that would not allow you to come into their buildings because you're single. I don't know why. So, like, the whole control protection of women extends way beyond clothes. And yeah, like, I think that moving to the next question, why do you think um the safety of women somehow lies in the hands of women, even though women are not the ones assaulting women? Like whenever people think of putting women, keeping women safe, it's always with policing their behaviors, policing where they can go to, policing what they can do. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, why do you think when society thinks of how to keep women safe, it's always they always come up with new ways to limit women, basically. Like, for example, like I think clothes, especially in like because I come from a country where we have two major religions, Christianity and then Islam. And the Islam, it's mainly based in one part of the country, as the northern part of the country, and they're very, very modest. Like you have to wear your hijab and all of that. So, like even with all of that, like they said it's for the women's protection, so men would not lust over them, but it does not work. And at this point, they should have been saying that this thing is not working. Like it has never worked. It has not been working. And I don't know why it still keeps being so. Like anytime they think of new ways to protect women, it always has to do with limiting what they can do, controlling their behaviors, limiting the places they can go to, limiting the opportunities even that they have access to, like what is happening in Pakistan, where they cannot go to school a certain, like I think it's class six also, which is really crazy. And I don't know if that's protection or just plain control. I don't know if they frame it as some kind of protection. So why do you think whenever society thinks of keeping women safe, they come up with new ways to limit women? Is it on purpose? Or do they really think that keeping women safe that way?
I think it's just a way, like you were saying, a way to control us rather than to keep us safe. Like it makes sense why they would be the ones inside because they're the ones causing harm, but they're the ones also in power. So it's hard to like
Your mic,
advocate.
your
Oh,
mic.
girl, I gotta hold it right here. But yeah, it's hard when the men are the ones in power, and obviously they're not gonna want to be the ones stuck inside, where
Mhm.
women are like expected to always be the ones to give. Like, yes, you should sacrifice being inside because you don't want to get hurt. But also it's like, why am I getting hurt at all? That should be the question. Yeah. Also, one of the things you were saying about relationships or like being expected to go from your family's house to like your husband's house. One of the things that like oddly always protects me when I'm outside or like when I feel like I'm around somebody that's creepy is just saying that there's a man nearby that's expecting me, being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
my dad's like
Mhm.
at home waiting for me," or, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." Like you always have to like saying no isn't enough. Like there was this one time I'm waiting at a bus stop. I'm
Yeah,
on
which
the
is
phone
so
with my
sad.
Yes. I'm on the phone with my friend and this dude walks up to me and he just starts talking. He like keeps talking and I'm being kind of polite and my friend's on the phone like stop talking to him and I'm like I try to stop talking to him. The man keeps talking and I go, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." Instantly the conversation's over and he's like, "Oh, okay." That was and I'm like, okay, then why was it so hard when I was like visibly uncomfortable and not responding once I say I have a boyfriend and you're like, oh, that's someone else's woman. Fine. Yeah, that's
Um, For me, I think it's definitely done on purpose, and I think it's part of the broader pattern of victim blaming, if I'm being honest. Because yeah, I mean, for centuries, basically, the idea has been that it's the women who, you know, provoke, even if a woman is just literally existing in her skin, wearing whatever she wants. She is the one who provokes desire in men, supposedly. So it's always been a way of not holding the men accountable and shifting the blame and the responsibility on the victims, meaning the women. And yeah, this was, I don't mean to make this like historical or religious, but like this was a main thing of Christianity all along. It was the fact that it's up to the woman to be pure, to be chaste, to present herself in a certain way. And it's persisted in Western culture to this day. And yeah, we've seen it in so many trials of women who have tried to speak out against their abusers, that so many people were like, oh, well, why didn't she do this? Or why didn't she speak up earlier? Why is she only bringing this up many years later? And it's like the constant is always, it's the woman's fault. Like, even if she was abused, it's her fault for not bringing it up before. It's her fault for whatever. Like, there are so many ways of just shifting the blame back on women. And so I think this is just another example of that victim blaming culture, which is in itself, I think, just another part of rape culture.
No, I think you bring up a really good point there, because it is a part of a lot of religions. In Islam, of course, modesty is a huge thing, and it's always about uh, the male gaze. You don't want to be viewed in a sexual way, and the only way to stop that is to be covered. But then also it says, you should avert your gaze. In Hinduism, now I'm not Hindu, but in Hinduism, for example, we have something called the Manusmriti, which is this really ancient Vedic text. And now it has straight up couplets that directly blame women for being provocative. So I feel like this, like religion itself is there to police. Men want to be able to hold each other accountable, but only to one another. But when they're holding women accountable, it's toward themselves. Like in reality, a man wouldn't really care if there were huge statistics of women on women crime. But whenever a woman kills a man, then you have people talk about, oh, is this because of feminism? Is this because she suddenly feels like she can? Or women say, we no longer want to have kids with you guys because you are terrible to us. And it's the women are concocting all of this to hurt us, and they're doing this to us. If we said to each other, oh, women no longer want to be friends with other women because you people are terrible, they won't care. They don't care about that. They only care about what affects them. But then it's another thing I wanted to bring up was, if you keep blaming women and turning, like, hoping for a perfect victim, essentially you create this perfect breeding ground for these people to say at any given time, it was her fault. If it never needs to be his fault, he doesn't need to go to jail. He can be innocent until proven guilty. You can never really prove it because you were wearing something else, or you were looking a certain way, or you have nice hair or beautiful smile, perfect breasts, any of those things. You were too beautiful for him to stop himself. It always, if it becomes about us as women, it never needs to be about them. It never needs to be about, but men are committing crimes. And maybe we should make it harder for them to do that by at least making examples out of them. We never do that. We make examples out of victims, because if you keep making an example out of victims, like Nima said, you end up in a situation where there's no need to ever police a man. Because why would you do that? They don't want to be inside. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's on the one hand, all religion is created to police women, but then also, even if it didn't exist, they would have found something else. They would have put it into the legal system. It's already there, right? Like with removing abortion rights in certain places and coercing women and others to abort based on what men want. So it's just about what they want. This just works for them, the system.
Yeah, and also it's quite easy. Like it's way easier to give women a list of precautions than to actually take the work and like change the laws to actually hold perpetrators accountable, to raise voice differently, to change societal views of masculinity and all of that. And yeah, our time is going. I think we have maybe 5 minutes and it's getting really dark. So the last question, if you could change one protective law or rule in your society, what would it be? For me, I would say it's the dress codes. Like we already said it, yeah, dress codes on kids, because it does not make any sense. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense for you to be covering up little girls because grown men cannot control themselves around them. It makes no sense. Like it should be the responsibility of like old men accountable. Like girls should not be raised feeling that, oh, there's a problem with their bodies and they have to be properly covered to protect themselves from grown men. So yeah, dress codes, especially in schools, yes.
I feel like one of the things I would say, like we should stop policing how women dress. Yes. Or like one of the things I would want to change would be feeling like your body is your own. I feel like so many things in the US is like stripping us of that identity. Like you don't have control
Yeah.
over how like your contraceptives, you don't have control over like your rights. Like they want us to stop voting. And it's just and it feels like there's more and more people, or my age especially, that are giving into that. I don't know if it's just me, but like I've been on TikTok and there are so many like 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, like people younger than me that are like, yeah, I'm a trad wife. Yes, I'm pregnant at 19 and I don't have a job. And I'm like, honey, that's not good.
That's scary.
Yes. And I'm like, I feel like we're actively regressing and I need people to start like feeling like their body's their own and like moving like that. Yeah.
I don't know that, I mean, I know there is no right answer to this. I don't know that my answer is right in any way, but I think honestly, I would love to hear a lot more female voices just sharing their stories, sharing their stories of abuse. And like, I would love for people to actually be listening to them,
Mhm.
not dismiss them, not
Not
interrogate
judging
them.
them.
Yeah, exactly. Just listen. Because I just recently finished reading the memoir of Virginia Roberts Jeffrey, who was one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. And one of the things that she does brilliantly is describe how this system of recruiting and grooming young girls was established by Epstein and Maxwell and was made to keep going for decades. And I think we need to hear more stories like that about the truth of how women are victimized, of how they're exploited, of the high powers that keep siding with the predators and not the victims. So I really do think that like sharing one's experiences as a woman and a survivor is really important. And I wish that more people would listen. I think more people are already listening compared to like a few decades ago, which is great. And I want to see that, keep going. I want more people to listen and more women to share their experiences.
Yeah.
I think I agree with both of you. I also feel like I would prefer sex ed, not just sex ed, because I don't really want to blame any of this on sex education. I don't think it's a lack of knowledge. But I did see a study not that long ago that said that a lot of violence in men specifically, but just people in general, is almost ingrained by society, by their pedagogy, by how they grow up or where they grow up. So it's learned behavior that you can unlearn. So I would
Mhm.
love to see us start at a very low level with children, even to unlearn any conditioning that could be affecting them. Because I feel like a lot of the ways that little boys are currently treating little girls as well, I'm seeing so many stories about little girls being raped by boys 12, 13, 14. You are so young. And this
Yeah.
is not just in like my country, like India or any other third world country. It's happening in the UK, it's happening here, it's happening anywhere. And if we start, and also juveniles don't always get sentences, they get
Mhm.
detentions and they have to go, do sometimes just community service for rape. And I feel like that's not great. So we want to start early before they can even do the crime. Because a lot of times the only time you can get help, which you don't really, is when the crime has already happened. You're already a victim, you've already been traumatized, you're already suffering. That's when you can go ask for help, and sometimes you don't even get that. I would prefer to have, if we want to protect people, like really protect, especially women, let's just start before it can even happen. Let's decondition violence, decondition this need to stop the girls, but to keep egging on the boys to hurt girls. Because it's also, isn't it like everywhere you go, at least my husband is a teacher, so he does work with a lot of children. And he tells me sometimes all it takes is a really hard conversation and they do change. And they're like, because they're children, it's still malleable. It's still early stages. And I'm not saying it's going to save the world. There's still a lot of problems that are not going to go away with just
At least it
better
could be a
education.
start.
Mm. But yeah, it's yeah, like you said, it's a good start, and I would love to see real action before victimization. So that's my two
Mhm.
cents.
I feel like to add on to what you were saying, like little girls are thought about like you learn about consent or
Yeah.
like you're told to teach your little girls about consent, like, oh, like your body's yours. Like if so and so touches you, tell me. But like, how about we start teaching little boys to ask for permission also?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
like how we start it early before they even think of touching you. Like ask for
Mhm.
permission. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that's also like the burden of safety being put on women. Like, and it starts that early. Like, instead of teaching boys consent, like asking for permission, like it's always on women or little girls to bad touch, good touch, all of those things that they teach little girls, which is very important. But like there should also be a version of that for boys. So Yes, so I think this brings us to the end of today's live stream, and thank you both, Martin and Emma, for staying with us through all our technical difficulties. And next week is Moni. I don't know what our topic would be, but it would be communicated, and I hope we would have you guys here again. It's always so great having you guys on our live streams. And yeah, see you guys next Sunday. Bye.
Yes, and like,
Thank you.
subscribe, all the good things. Let us know in the comments if you would like to add extra thoughts about this. For example, if you have something in mind that we could be doing as a society for people to change, add that in the comments so we can talk about it. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.